Race weekend number 7 of the DTM 2015. We are in the Magdeburger Börde in Oschersleben. Welcome to Hankook TV. The man who carries these colors around will play an important role in this edition of Hankook TV. Also, we take a close look to the starting procedure, and we got a lot of more interesting news for you. So have fun with Hankook TV. In a garage, you always wonder how many people are running around there and who's responsible for what. We talked to Bruno Spengler to get a little bit of light into the dark. Who are the most important persons which are you working together with?
I think it is difficult to point just one, because the team is so important. Everyone has a very important role in the team, and every mechanic, every single mechanic, every engineer, everyone has to do his part the best that he can, that everything runs smoothly. And this is the same for me. For sure, the most important is the race engineer, because it's the one you have the direct contact to. It's the one that has to understand you in any situation. It's the one that has to know what you mean when you tell him the car does this or the car does that. He has to know, and he has to translate it into a car setup, which is not always easy to do. So my race engineer is definitely very, very important.
If you come to a track like Oschersleben, you have some base data. How do you develop the car? What are the parameters you are going through?
I think the point number one is on free practice, you should not panic, because a lot of people are doing different things. Some are using new tires already on Friday, a couple of sets. Some are running qualifying shots already on Friday. And what we seem to do until now is to run a little bit more the race stream on Friday and start concentrate on qualifying on Saturday morning. The most important is that everybody stays calm and analyzes what is comparable and try there to improve your car and improve your driving style in accordance to this, and then this is how you move forward. I think it's very important that the whole team really stays focused on the program that has been planned, and then goes through the steps, step by step, and try to improve the car like that. And everyone has to be in a perfect shape in what he does.
Now we have an idea how this collaboration works, and for Bruno Spengler it's not the worst. He's the best BMW just before the start of this race here in Oschersleben. And more news from the paddock you will see now.
The Hankook Pit Stop Award competition is dominated by Audi this year. And it was again the Team Up Sportsline who could collect the beer. At the last race in Moscow, they managed the fastest stop at Matthias Ekström's car. This is a DTM time schedule, and this is the weather in the Magdeburger Börde called landscape around the racetrack. The fans had to be patient. The fog caused a 3 hours delay on Saturday, because as long as the helicopter is not able to fly, there's no racing allowed due to medical rescue reasons. Safety first, time schedule second. New series, old drivers. This time the Audi TT Cup offers guest cockpits to some big old names of the DTM. Running against the young boys and girls in this series is a real challenge for the old hands like Frank Bieler, Uwe Alsen and Harald Groß. Conclusion, the old guys are still very fast, they just need longer breaks in between. It's not necessarily the big city of Magdeburg where you have to take a hotel while visiting the DTM in Oschersleben. Why not combine the sport with a little bit of culture? 30 kilometers to the south of the racetrack you can find a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Quedlinburg is worth a visit. Here you can stroll through medieval alleyways at daylight or at the nicely illuminated night.
Motorsport is all about sound and noise, and it's extremely noisy at the start. The starting procedure, we have a close look.
We do a lot of start practice, and it's first of all, I suppose, about getting the right clutch into the car, because when we're sitting on the grid, you get a certain amount of preload for the launch and things like that, and you have to have a clutch that has a very good feel and stuff like that. So it really going into the build of the car, the engineers making sure the clutch is good for the driver to feel. And on the actual start, we have a procedure we go through with the amount of sort of preload we have on the car, the amount of throttle you have, and you really have to monitor that. And it's down to the finest of 1 or 2% more or less throttle. You know, it's really precise, and then it's really about managing that start procedure. The second thing is just the amount of work you do on the outlap to get the tyres prepared, because everything we do with the car and with the setup or everything else is very small amount compared to how much you can gain by getting the more out of the tyres. You know, the tyres are the thing that sticks us to the ground, and they're the most important part of the car really, is getting the tyres to work.
When the car stays on the grid, the car stays around 1 or 2 minutes without any blanket, so the temperature is going down. Then you have the lap coming to the grid, and there you have to look to have the best temperature in your tires. The driver spins the rear axle and they wave on the track, and with braking to hit the front axle. Then the first is coming to his position, but on the back they still come and go to the position. So the first is cooling down and the other still running. So it's not so easy, and that's why in the main straight most of the driver spin the wheels, the rear wheels, to give an additional temperature.
In that moment when you're on the grid and your heart's beating, the adrenaline's pumping, it's really down to your natural feeling and your natural reactions. It's very difficult to train something like that, I think, yeah.
You think you're a good starter or average or a bad one?
I think I'm very good.
A very nice late summer day in Oschersleben, above all for BMW. 4 cars in the first 2 rows, and pole setter Timo Glock is best on the spot, followed by Augusto Farfus and Tom Blomqvist. The first corner here is especially tricky because it's especially tight, and so it's almost logic that there are lighter crashes in the back of the field. This leads directly to the first appearance of the safety car, slowly through the pit lane. At the restart, Timo Glock defends his first place ahead of 3 more BMWs. Only Pascal Wehrlein in the Mercedes muscles in up front in 5th position, but throughout the entire race heavily attacked by Marco Wittmann. Nevertheless, he claims 10 points this Saturday, while his biggest championship rival Matthias Ekström ends scoreless. Audi without a chance, too much weight on board. In contrast to the cars from Munich, Timo Glock maintains his lead ahead of Bruno Spengler until the checkered flag, and registers himself in the winners list for the 2nd time in his DTM career.
Top job, mate, well done.
For the 1 and 2, that's great. Thank you very much.
Timo Glock at the end of season run 13, the one with the big smile. And race number 14 comes the day after, Sunday. Again 4 BMW up front after the qualifying, and this time it's Tom Blomqvist who passes poleman Augusto Farfus. Behind them, Antonio Felix da Costa and Marco Wittmann, followed by the best non-BMW, Pascal Wehrlein. How much he likes that opening, team principal Jens Marquardt doesn't let show. Again, somewhere in the nowhere, Audi. Jamie Green and his teammates again too heavy. Then it's time to get new Hankook slicks, but all goes wrong for Martin Tomczyk. Side by side with Paul Di Resta, unsafe release, drive-through penalty, race ruined. As on Saturday, Pascal Wehrlein is 5th, also on Sunday, close to Felix da Costa, but not able to pass him, and finally with another 10 points. His championship lead now extended to 14 points. The very front, Tom Blomqvist meanwhile has pulled away from everybody else, when in the final lap Lucas Auer crashes fiercely into the tire barriers, race abandoned. So Tom Blomqvist claims his maiden victory in the DTM, and BMW celebrates 2 quadruple victories in a row in Oschersleben 2015. Now it's time to say goodbye to the start and finish straight here in Oschersleben. The DTM season sees its start and finish straight. 2 races are still to go. Next edition of Hankook TV will be sending from the Nürburgring. So, as we say here in the Magdeburger Börde, machen Sie es gut.